All right, today we're going to dive into a timeless fable about a father's last words to his sons. It's a promise of hidden treasure that was supposed to change their lives. And it did, just not at all in the way they expected. So let's see what we can unearth together.
So let's just kick things off with a question. What is treasure, really? Is it a chest full of gold coins? Or could it be something else entirely? Keep that question in the back of your mind as we get into this story. So our story starts with a pretty classic scene. You've got an old farmer, he's on his deathbed, and his sons are all gathered around to hear his last words. He's about to pass on their inheritance, but it's not what you think. It comes in the form of one single, really mysterious instruction.
As he's lying there, the father tells his sons that a great treasure is hidden somewhere in their field. And that's it. No map, no X marks the spot, no clues, just this one tantalizing promise. And that promise, well, it sets everything in motion.
So what do the sons do? Well, pretty much exactly what you'd expect. As soon as their father is gone, they get completely consumed by one single thought. They take his words literally. To them, treasure means gold. And so the great search begins. Okay, let's break down what they did. After the father passes, the sons, they get to work immediately. And we're not talking about a casual search here. The story says they dug day and night. Just imagine that for a second. The sheer effort of turning over every single inch of that field, all of it driven by this promise of a life-changing fortune. So after all that backbreaking work, after weeks of just relentless digging, the moment of discovery is finally here. They've done it. They've turned over the entire field. But what they find, or maybe more importantly, what they don't find, that's the real turning point of this whole story. Yep. Absolutely nothing. Not a single treasure chest, no hidden coins, not one piece of gold. The whole field is just a mess of overturned dirt, and they have nothing to show for it. You can just imagine how crushing that disappointment must have been.
And this right here, this is the big question, isn't it? After all that work, it really seems like their father's last words were just a lie. Maybe a cruel trick to make them work for absolutely nothing. But was he really trying to deceive them, or was his idea of treasure just completely different from theirs?
Okay, and this is where the story takes this amazing turn. The sons, they might not have found what they were looking for, but all of their hard work had an unintended consequence, and it turned out to be far more valuable. They were about to reap a harvest they never, ever expected. So you can see the huge difference here, right? The sons were looking for this finite prize, a chest of gold that you find once and it's over. But what their labor actually created was a living system, fertile soil that could produce wealth year after year. They were looking for something static, but they created something dynamic. And here's the beautiful result. All that digging, all that relentless turning of the earth, it had perfectly tilled and aerated the land. Their so-called failed search for gold was actually the perfect preparation for an incredible planting season, and it gave them a massive crop. And of course, an excellent crop leads to an excellent profit. By selling that harvest, they earned a true fortune. So the father's promise came true after all. The treasure was real. They just had to create it, not find it. So when you really think about it, what was the true inheritance here? It wasn't gold, that's for sure. The father left his sons something so much more valuable, a lesson about where value really comes from. It's a shift from just looking for a prize to actually valuing the process. This idea of the tilled field becomes this perfect metaphor for anything really. A project, a career, learning a new skill. The real value isn't some prize at the very end. The value is generated in the process of doing the work, the practice, the learning, the effort. The treasure is the tilling. So what was the father's real wisdom? It boils down to something pretty simple, actually. Hard work always brings a reward. Now, it might not be the rewards you expect, but as the sons found out, sometimes the unexpected reward is the most valuable one of all. And that really just leaves us with one final thought, one question for you. What's the field that you're tilling right now? What are you putting all that work into? And more importantly, are you so focused on finding the gold that you might be missing the real treasure that's being created in the process? It's definitely something to think about.